So in this video, I'm going to give you my absolute favorite door-to-door or over-the-phone cold call script. I just found out about this thing, and man, it is awesome, so stick around because you're going to love it. How you doing out there? It's Dave Duford at Final Expense Agent Mentor, where I help agents like you succeed in the final expense and life insurance business. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about a brand new cold calling script that I learned from this fantastic book here entitled Sales Prospecting by Claude Whitaker. As some of you guys know, my new 2018 resolution is to read a book a week, and I have been busy doing it, and man, have I learned a ton of information, especially from Mr. Claude Whitaker when it comes to cold prospecting, whether you go door to door or over the phone, as well as the art of referral generation. You're going to see a couple of videos here over the next couple of days about Claude Whitaker and his book series, so make sure you stick around to watch those. They're absolutely excellent, and I promise you're going to learn a tremendous amount of information about cold calling, appointment setting scripts, as well as referral generation tactics that are just totally different than anything you've ever seen. But of course, in this video today, we're going to talk about cold calling either door to door or over the phone, and the mentality behind Claude Whitaker's approach to doing so, and why his script is just so damn effective. I know you're going to love this, so let's get right into it. So a little bit about Claude. Claude's been in sales for the last 30 to 40 years, primarily selling vacuums door to door. Along the way, most of his business was done cold calling, so he has a ton of experience actually implementing the methods that are going to be described here in a moment. One of the things Claude learned in his career cold calling door-to-door selling vacuums was that the idea behind cold calling was identifying as quickly as possible the people that you're calling on as being a pre-qualified type of prospect. Now, I talk about a lot in my sales training when it comes to final expense, the importance of pre-qualifying your client. But what Claude does is he goes door to door. He doesn't do any sort of mailers or anything like that. And what he discovered is the faster that he pre-qualified and the faster that he called on people pre-qualifying, the faster he could actually get to selling a vacuum and making more deals quickly. What you want to do in your script when cold calling is to quickly disqualify the prospect. When you use a disqualifying approach when cold prospecting, what happens is with the appointments that you actually do set, they're better quality. You'll find that the people are much more interested in what it is that you have to offer. And you can go through your cold calls a lot faster. You're not spending a lot of time on the phone, asking them all sorts of questions. You're giving the proposition of doing business right up front to figure out if there's somebody who actually is a qualified buyer. The other advantage is that the prospect, upon hearing this script, is just going to be tremendously relieved. They're not going to go into some long ordeal on the phone listening to some annoying sales pitch that they've heard a million times. The pitch is right to the point. It's direct. It gets to the point of why you're there and what you're talking about. And to the relief of many of these people, they'll answer the question directly, just as you pose the question directly. So here's how the actual cold calling script works. And the one thing I'll mention before we get into the script is there's going to be an extension or an add-on to the script I'm going to give you, so make sure you stick around for that. So the script goes like this. Dave, yes, what can I do for you? I sell life insurance to business owners. Do you want to know more? So let's break down the script so you can better understand why it's so effective. First of all, notice there's no fluff. There's no fillers here. None of the typical cold calling or appointment setting verbiage. How are you doing today? How's the weather in Atlanta? Wow, you've got such a nice facility. Everything's so fantastic. Everybody these days in the current year knows that a person who comes in and says that stuff doesn't really mean it. They're just saying this stuff because they're trying to break the ice and get past the point that they're walking in cold to do a sales call. Whereas in this script, there's none of that. It's right to the point, it's direct, and you ask the proposition immediately. Another great thing about this script is that you start with the proposition in mind. You don't come with some sort of generic vanilla approach that doesn't really necessarily mean that the prospect is interested. Imagine if I called up somebody to sell them life insurance and I said, I represent the biggest life insurance companies in America, and I help business owners with all sorts of things related to life insurance like health insurance, retirement, etc. I'd like to spend 20 minutes with you to show you more how this works. Would tomorrow at 2 work? The problem with this approach is you're trying to be everything to everybody. And when you're everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody. And so in the end of the day, it's such an ineffective script. And even if you do get an appointment with such a wide net cast, as I'd like to describe it, it doesn't necessarily mean that the people have actually any interest in what you do. Whereas with this approach, you start with the end in mind. I sell life insurance to business owners. Would you like to know more? Pretty straightforward. And if somebody says yes to that, they're going to be interested much, much more than with a generic approach, which, again, you're not quite sure what it's about, but you're just agreeing to an appointment. The last thing I like about this approach is that this script allows you to phone that much faster, right? If you start with the proposition in mind right off the bat and you get a no, you know that they're probably not going to be interested. So why spend time trying to rebuttal the proposition if they're conditionally not open-minded to that idea? Again, Claude's reasoning here with cold calling is that your approach is to find the people that are in the mindset of already buying whatever it is that you're selling, is to appeal to the people who have life insurance, let's say, on the mind, or whatever it is that you're selling. And then begin with that proposition up front, because the more appointments you're going to get, the more sales you're going to make, because they already agree with the proposition. And your appointments are going to be much more valuable because of that. So the last point I'll mention here is what Claude calls the restraining statement on his cold calling script. So he stumbled across this and mentioned this in his book about how effective it was in actually increasing the number of appointments that he set on cold calls. So if we recall our script, for example, I sell life insurance to business owners. Would you like to know more? Well, the one thing that you add on to this script is, I help business owners with their life insurance, but only those that work in the plumbing business. Would you like to know more? So why is a restraining statement very powerful? Well, first of all, any sort of restraint that you put on any of your approaches allows and establishes exclusivity. It creates a little bit of intrigue in the mind of the person listening on the phone. They want to know why you're selling only for a particular group of people, because maybe in some way you have some sort of particular knowledge and experience working within that group. So it elevates your cold call to a different level, because you're not the same guy obviously pitching a long, drawn out, droning pitch, but you're also setting yourself aside that you have an exclusive approach with certain people. And that kind of approach, as Claude says, will take you from 1 appointment an hour to 2 appointments an hour, because now you're differentiating your script so that in the mind of the person hearing it, they're going to be a little bit more intrigued as to what it is that you're offering. So if you really like this script and you want to use it, start using it right away. Again, this is a script you can use for any type of business that you're in. It doesn't matter if you're selling insurance or you're selling any other kind of product, whether it's retail or business to business. And if you like this kind of training, you're going to see more videos here over the next couple of days. I'm going to talk at length with Claude about really the best referral generating strategy I have ever heard of. We're also going to talk about how objections aren't real. That's going to be in tomorrow's video. You're going to really like that, and some of the strong, just amazing rebuttal tactics that he employs. But I want you to pick up this book if you haven't already. This is by Claude Whitaker, Sales Prospecting. You can find it on Amazon. It is, I think it's like almost a 5 out of 5 rating. There's a link below in my description if you'd like to click on that. It is an affiliate link, so you'll be paying me some commission in exchange for finding out about this. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this training. Please put it to use. If you're a cold caller, I promise you're going to like it. And if you do, please comment below and tell me how the experience goes. I'd love to hear what your reaction is. Take care.